So it's time for a bit of a catch-up. I had filmed an episode of Twit before the last video I put out, which was my vloggy thing, and in that I had explained, and I'm surprised no one pointed it out, why the lovely G1 figures are gone from my shelf up there. Basically, I suddenly succumbed to the fear of them fading because there's a window right there, and thought, no, I've got to move them, and it would give me a chance to have a nice sort of random display that I've wanted for a while. That will look good as a video backdrop, and I can change it and rotate it every now and then. But I quite like it, it's nice. Once again, it's a matter of, you can see it, I don't need to talk about it anymore. But I am rather aware of the fact that you won't be able to tell what half the figures out there are because of the camera angle and the low resolution. So have fun guessing as to what that is, and I don't know what I'm pointing at. Now let's crack on with the plastic, shall we? I've managed to get quite a lot in the remainder of the month of September, mainly because of the Tesco sale being so staggeringly just worth every penny. So I'm gonna sort of work up in terms of cost and start off with some crayons that I found in Asda, just randomly, because I hadn't seen any in there ever, to be honest. And then when you present it with what is essentially a box of random £1.50 little transforms, I thought, I'll take a punt. It was the Wave 3 lot, and the first one I got was Kickback, and it's quite nice, you know. I went in this completely randomly, didn't look up the codes or anything, just put my hand in and pulled out a packet and thought, yeah, let's go with it. Kickback's nice, he's sort of slick. These guys seem sort of to increase in quality as the waves go on, and the next one has Hot Rod in it, so yes, please. Yeah, I'm not really a big one for Creo, but every now and then one of these little guys sort of ticks the box, you know, scratches an itch. He's quite nice, and I have a few of them just sat on my desk, and just fun to stand there like that. Next one I got was Nose Cone. Again, he's really well done. He has sort of more spare parts than Kickback does. Everything you see on Kickback is all of his parts, but there was only like one spare bit on him, you could just work it in pretty easily. And again, he's cool. Got nice detailing, he's super G1-y, you know, for some reason he's got a sort of truck cab hat on. I presume that's one of the reused Constructicon pieces, but yeah, he's cool. And his vehicle mode is the most G1 accurate thing I've ever seen rendered in LEGO. It is exactly the same shape. Clearing all those bits aside, it's time to look at some proper robots. Basically, what with the astoundingly good half-price Tesco sale going on, I couldn't say no to a set of 2 Legion figures for the price of 1, well, 50p less than the price of 1. Yes, I've got a new Terracon, he's a Firecon technically. Yes, it's Cindersaw, and I bought him because Ripper Snapper is nowhere to be found, and I want a leg for my Abominus, and I still need a Blight, but blah blah blah. Apparently they're starting to show up places, so I might be lucky. This is nice. Oh, this is just like perfect sort of kaiju mode. I love it. It could have just walked out of Pacific Rim or a Godzilla film. It does look a bit like a sort of shark 90s Godzilla. Yeah, it's just such a perfect looking thing. I mean, from the side, it obviously looks the best. This sort of slightly sharky, lizardy, reptile-y profile going on, and the face is just perfect. It's all teeth and deep set eyes and a sharp nose. It looks excellent. But of course, once you put it from the front ways, it ends up looking a bit odd because it's got insanely wide hips and like protrusions on the side of its head for the hinges for transformation and all that. And to be honest, none of that bothers me at all. I can completely forgive it and imagine it's some sort of weird sort of design touch that Guillermo del Toro has put into it to make sure it looks even weird. Yes, Cindersaw's nice. It's just, you know, a nice sort of update, making an old, ostensibly crap G1 figure actually good. So yeah, and you know, you can imagine he breathes fire when he's smoking his crossbow. So yeah, he was the main reason I picked up that set, and for the price essentially I got Smokescreen for free, which is pretty darn good. I wasn't really prepared to get a repaint of this guy so soon in the game, but it's a nice repaint. It's all G1-y, you know, it's the red, white and blue, uber patriotic, mildly, I don't know, Swedish. Is that right? Looking Smokescreen with proper sort of 38s on the doors, and it looks nice. The paint job is slick, it's cool, it's made of a nice shiny blue plastic, but I'm sort of struggling to look at this and instantly think Smokescreen. I don't know why. I mean, this is sort of what Smokescreen should look like, you know, it's the G1 guy. the proper sort of rally car look, and I'm really struggling to connect that name with this image. Maybe I've gotten used to the way Smokescreen looks now, the sort of white silvery look. Maybe when I think of Smokescreen I think of the orange crane guy from Armada. Who knows? But certainly for the price, that set was just excellent to pick up. I realise I should probably talk about Sinister's robot mode for a bit. He's got shiny green paint on his face that looks nice. It's a robot made out of parts of an odd monster. I mean, a lot of it's pretty obvious here. He's got this weird growth on his belly that is his robot mode head. It's a good figure. It's certainly one of the really good Cyberverse guys again, but his robot mode seems a bit weak compared to the other Terracons or whatever you meant to call these guys. I realise now I come to a point where either I go in chronological order or in price order as I sort of set out to go in, and whatever, I'm going to go chronological order. This thing is really nice and is probably the best £10 I've ever spent on a Voyager figure ever. Can I go into an objective enough talking about this session? I don't think I can. This thing is just far too good. It's excellent for in 2013, the way Voyager figures are and all of that, and it's like something from another time, a better time, because oh god, the articulation on it is so good. I mean, I'm about to say everything that Dorian said about this guy in a recent video. And at the time when he filmed that, I was ready to film the other video, and I said to him in a comment that you've just said everything I just said, and well, of course now it's going to look like I'm copying him because this is later. Yes, I wish the wings would extend that way. That doesn't feel right. I thought the blue bits were going to be a separate bit to the grey bit, and there was a hinge here. It doesn't do that, but all the hinge does is extend these funny finger bits. Yes, there's the other problem. Nothing tabs in very well. When you sort of go to move most of him, you'll end up just knocking his chest and head all wobbly, and that'll go weird. If you try and tilt his head back too far, you'll just end up transforming it back into his neck. Yes, I thought the elbows were on the wrong way round because there's such a multitude of swivels in his arms that it was completely possible to have the elbows backwards. But, there's a swivel here, here, here. He's even got thumbs! Come on! This is 2013, I'm getting a Voyager figure with thumbs? More, please! This is just everything I could have wanted from Beast Hunters. It's a big, majestic looking robot with the sort of angel wings and, odd spikes and pieces here and there. Oh, it's... Every time I played with this, for like first few days I got it, I just kept finding more and more joints. I mean, the way that he's all condensed up in the box, it is pretty badly mistransformed, to be honest, because you've got these bits that are meant to be his sort of heels, they're up like that, and the feet are sort of condensed up, so you haven't got as much range on this ankle here, but then you can go and extend it down and it meets with the level of that heel piece and it works like a proper ankle, and it's on a ball joint and everything, and there's another joint there. The posability on this is next to insane, and well, to be honest, it was probably the standard of figures that we were getting back in the days of Lugnut and whatever. But for now, this is lovely, and it's everything I could have wanted. I mean, even you can extend his knees out and give him properly double knees like that. But they bend probably that deep anyway, and you don't really need to do that. But there's all of this room to bend stuff, and you can condense it up if you don't want it looking this all weird and stuffy. Every joint on this figure feels good. It's really sturdy, everything's nice universal joints like on the hips and the shoulders, and there is a bit of a sort of problem with the shoulders. I don't know if it's just on mine, but they are really stiff to move like up and down. But at least when you do get them moving up and down, there's this detail inside, this sort of ring that you see move when you do it. There's just lots of cool stuff going on with this, and the beast mode, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much, turn his arms into the beast mode legs, and, limbs become limbs, which isn't a transformation into a beast that I'm really comfortable with or really like, because in today's levels of engineering, surely you can do something better. But it stops limbs hanging off places, and to be honest, it doesn't really matter. The transformation is involved enough to get us into its Ursa Griff mode, which is not a real mythological creature, Hasbro. When you Google that, all you get is the bio for Grimwing. No. So Darksteel is just... it's more than recommended, it's like a must-have. Especially if you can get to a Tesco's before the 3rd of October and get one for a tenner. Yeah, get yourself a Darksteel. It probably is even worth 20 quid. Because let's face it, that's cheaper than normal Voyagers are anyway, by a couple of quid. I was blown away with this, and it's just flawless. I honestly can't find anything that's truly wrong with it. I mean, all you've got to do is be a bit careful with the joints so you don't collapse him or whatever. And the paint is slick. I can keep talking, and I probably should stop, but I'm going to point out one more thing. All these hieroglyphs he's got on him, all over the place, whatever, there's only actually 4 different ones, and they're just rotated differently and put in different places. That seems like a bit of a sort of lack of true detail, because why would you have only 4 letters of the alphabet tattooed on you? Maybe they're Darksteel's favourite letters of the alphabet. Who knows? But yeah, that just seems a bit lazy. That's the only thing really that is lazy on this figure. Well, I suppose I should talk about this weird beaky thing. It's a grappling launcher thingy, which is always fun. You never get enough of those, and I'm sure the last time I got one of these was with Beast Wars Tarantulas, so that's cool. Brings back a bit of nostalgia in that regard. But it doesn't really carry the same sort of playability. That thing was a spider, and you know, spiders have webs and it can dangle from the thing like it's on a web. What is this going to do? It vomits. It looks like the thing just... this odd bird head thing vomits it out, and it's just not pleasant at all. This thing is really ugly. It's like some sort of incredibly gnarly crow face, and then it goes and spews out this grappling hook that is then in turn sculpted to look like another sort of beast. I don't know if it's like a dragonfly or something, or another bird. There are some whole new levels of weird going on here, but somehow I like it. It's a bit of fun. And then we move on to some lovely, properly new stuff. Beast Hunters Wave 4 has hit this country, so y'all can go and get a croc out here. When I saw this for £6.50, I couldn't say no. I mean, look at it. It's a crocodile car. It's even got a tail made out of the funny chompy thing that he comes with. It's a lot of fun. It's really silly, yeah, but it's so much fun. And look at this car. Just look at that. It's all scaly and shiny green, and this lovely burgundy. It's all glossy. It just looks really nice, and I'm loving the sort of gnarly scalitude going on, and it's 10 times better than the original Knockout vehicle mode, really. It's just fun. I can't describe it as anything else, because it's a car that's made to look like a crocodile. It's even got shiny gold teeth. Why wouldn't you want that? There's a bit of an odd thing going with mine though. As far as I know, all of this green stuff is meant to be flecked with that sort of ink they put into the plastic. Only one piece of mine is, and it's this bit back here with all this sort of conspicuous yellow stuff on it that sort of just makes it look like, I don't know, the fuel cap is leaking. It's only on that piece of this figure. This section here is the only bit that got any of this dyeing on mine, which seems a bit of a shame, because if it was all over, I think that would make a really nice effect. But at least it doesn't sort of detract from the nice, pure, shiny greenness of this front bit. I'm not going to transform him, you know, the transformation is exactly the same, it's just with some slightly differently shaped parts. Knockout's robot mode is, you know, it's good, it's posable, la-di-da, but while this figure is really nice, Knockout's robot mode is not one that can really engage my attention for very long. It's just a bit basic, you know, he doesn't really do a lot, and when you've got this odd weapon that is quite sort of difficult to actually use, because, you know, you snap it open and there's a chain, so it's like a sort of mace thing, or maybe it goes along of its own free will, going chompy and he has to hold on to it and it attacks people. I don't know. The spring is pretty good, you know, you can get it attaching to things quite nicely. But then you've got Knockout as a robot by himself. He's just a robot. You know, he's got 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso and a head. He just hasn't really got anything else going on. And while he looks sort of gnarly and cool, he's got a good new head sculpt, there's nothing that really holds my attention. Which is why I seem to keep it in car mode, because that looks just slick. especially when you can give it a crocodile tail that even has its own little wheels inside. Right, well, this brings us slowly, I'm quite aware that this video is taking a bit longer than I expected, towards the last item. Tesco's slowly not slowly, what am I saying? Very quickly ran out of stuff on their shelves. If they need a strategy to sell Transformers, they found one, because the stuff just flew off the shelves and they were just empty in, it must have taken 2 weeks and they were just completely empty, and this sale was on for like a month. And considering everything they had was half price, I could not say no to buying the only remaining Constructbot on supermarket shelves for £7.50. Yup, I got a Wheeljack. Yes, this isn't how he's meant to be, how you would see it on the box. This is a bit of a revision I've done with wheels up here with stuff and there's stuff on his gun. Yeah, I got a new Constructbot. Ooh, exciting. I was not as blown away with this as I was with Soundwave. That's probably pretty obvious because, of course, once I got this out, built it, it has become very obvious about the whole shared skeleton thing and the whole sort of shared transformation scheme thing, and it's a bit of a shame. I was not as excited with this guy as I was with Soundwave, but it's still very nice and I really do like it. It's quite clever how the pieces that they've used are sort of smaller and less substantial to give a sort of impression of a leaner robot mode than Soundwave. He's even shorter because his feet are a little bit stumpier. So it's quite good that while they are, the same size, they have the same skeleton, you can get two slightly differently sized figures out of it that have, very different character. He's got a very Wheeljack face and all that, so, of course he's not like Soundwave at all. But deep down, underneath this skin, he is the same. And at times that can become very obvious and it's a bit like, oh, I just feel like I'm playing with the same figure. But when you've got this guy with a lot more parts than Soundwave, he can be a bit more interesting. And, the first thing to point out is, let's get these spoilers off of here. This gun he's got, that's really nice. This is a really cool piece. It's, it's a blaster and it's got a sort of lemon juicer on it that I presume shoots rockets, and it's got every form of attachment point on it. It's got a clip and a post and a port and a bar, so you could stick it literally anywhere. Like his crotch, for example. So Wheeljack might not be quite as interesting as Soundwave, but I'd still say, I'd recommend him. I think really the choice of which one of these you get first is down to whether you like Soundwave or Wheeljack better, whether you think the alt mode looks a bit better or whatever. Because this guy's alt mode is a bit of a mess. It is just a sort of weird thing with some wheels on it, and I don't know. I guess there will be ways to improve it, but at the moment it just looks like a sort of skeleton of the Batmobile. It's a bit odd. Yeah, but there's no denying that it's fun, because it just rolls along really nicely, and come on, you can make it exactly what you want it to be. I'd bombard you with some photos of this mixed with Soundwave's parts, but I haven't actually done that yet. I've just been pacing myself, I suppose, and sort of enjoying mucking about with Wheeljack on his own before I take him apart and mix him up with Soundwave to create some sort of unholy mismatch that could be called Soundjack, and that just sounds like he's a headphone enthusiast, I don't know. But it certainly did feel good to pick this guy up at half price. I can't imagine spending 15 quid on one of these now, because I haven't actually, I've got both of these reduced. So yes, Constructbots, cool. I really hope another sale comes on once the other wave is out, because I don't want to spend too much money on Hound, which is in the second wave, which I do rather want. But that does bring me on to a little discussion point here. If Constructbots flops, which it looks like it might, which is a bit sad, the reason will be because Hasbro just haven't put out enough product. They haven't. The only ones you can find are the 2 boxes I've got on my shelf here as books, which is how I'll probably keep all of my Constructbots. I quite like that, where you can just sort of put them on a shelf and have them like that and take them out as if they are books. I want a whole shelf of them, really. Yeah, it's because you're going to get those 2. That's not enough variety for a construct and customise line of toys. Only 2? Come on. I mean, I know there are others out there. You can get the whole range in Argos or Toys R Us. But around here, there is no Toys R Us. And how are kids going to go into Argos and know to get these if they don't know they exist by seeing them in other shops. That cannot be a good marketing strategy. Surely if Hasbro really wanted to sell Constructbots, they would bombard every supermarket with every set to really get into kids' faces and say, look at this, it's a Transformer, you put it together yourself, buy all of them and make your own things. But instead they're sort of going, yeah, there's these new ones that are on this shelf here, tucked away in the corner. They're a bit more expensive than all the others, but you can sort of put them together yourself, yeah. But there's only 2 different ones, so, you know, have fun. Come on, I want to see the next wave come out. I want to see all the waves come out. I want to be able to get as many Constructbots as I can because I have a lot of faith in this line. Even if Hasbro UK don't. So, that's your lot for September. This month seems to have gone really, really quickly and it's kind of scaring me that tomorrow will be October. I've just noticed there's a floorboard that I'm moving that is shaking things on the top of my shelf there. That's not good. See you later, couch potato.